Are you ready to have your mind blown? What if I were to tell you your ancient NA Miata shares a handful of parts with a supercar? That would be crazy, right? It would be like going to a fancy pants sushi place and getting frozen fish sticks with your order. Just feels wrong. But car companies actually do that kind of stuff all the freaking time. From low volume exotics to some of the fastest production cars ever. Manufacturers are always looking to rob the discount bin for the perfect part. And I'm Brad Danger, and today I have 8 great examples of cheap car parts being used on not so cheap cars. Starting with the one and only icon of an entire generation, the Lamborghini Diablo, and its super sweet headlights that are stolen straight from a Nissan.
Give me that.
Okay, I don't blame them. The 300ZX was pretty revolutionary. It was one of the first cars to ever be designed by computers, and it looks great. Plus, you know, Lamborghini was basically a failing company in the 80s, so when the Diablo was designed with some awesome pop-up headlights, the bigwigs decided to instead keep costs down by letting Nissan, who was in the middle of their golden age, just do all the work. And well, if you ask me, that's just good business. And when both cars look so damn good, you just can't get mad. In fact, you just smile. And lights, they're one thing, but that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg. Some cars share way more than just some lights. Like, you might own a car from a prestigious Italian company that has a ton of parts from a cheap Dodge. Maserati, it's just a strange company. We talk about it a lot because their cars tend to be some of the most appreciated vehicles ever built. And while yes, they do sound amazing, the reason they depreciate so much is because they tend to be very, very, very unreliable. Which is why it really is no surprise that their cars are just parts bin specials. If you open the door to the luxurious, beautiful Maserati Ghibli, you'll find a bunch of Dodge parts. Specifically, a ton of switches, knobs, and trim pieces in the Ghibli are stolen straight out of the Dodge Dart. Yeah, makes sense. Fiat did own Dodge. Ferrari and Fiat are closely linked, and Maserati is closely linked with Ferrari. And it just feels a little bit dirty though, because even if Dodge was just sticking Dodge parts in Dodge cars, you'd expect them to use quality parts, not something from the Dart. I mean, it sounds dodgy to me. It's like using Camry parts in your supercar. And yeah, about that. Lotus has a long history of stealing parts from Toyota. It's pretty well known that the engine in the Elise has Toyota roots. And the Evora uses a lot of the same engine parts and running gear from the Toyota Previa van. But I can't pass up on an opportunity to talk about the Toyota AE86. Just close one eye, squint with the other, and check out this picture of the Lotus Esprit. And just tell me in the comments below if you get some initial D vibes. I mean, I'm okay with it. If you're gonna have a V8 supercar, having a little bit of spirit from a car that's supposed to teach you how to drive doesn't sound so bad. Alas, the weirdest taillights are actually on the Pagani Zonda S, and the Saleen S7, and the Lamborghini Diablo, and the Ford Think City, but they aren't from the Ford. They are more commonly found on tractors. The lights are called Hella 4169s, and you can buy them for about 25 bucks. Like, you can tell people that you have Saleen S7 parts in your Corolla. And because they're cheap, universal, and just easy to get, they're used everywhere. It makes sense too. If you're a boutique car maker like Zonda, you don't want to spend time or waste precious resources designing your own lights. Just grab some from the catalog and call it good. And just imagine if there were even more tractor parts on the car. Like if you had the entire drivetrain from a John Deere or something, then it would be like one of the greatest American supercars ever. The Dodge Viper. We made a video about the Viper where we talked about just how insane it was that the Viper was allowed to exist at all, since they had a minuscule budget and like no time to make it. So some of it, yes, it's forgivable. Like yes, it uses truck parts. No, not the engine. The engine was inspired by the V10 from the pre-Ram HD trucks, but a handful of drivetrain components. Things like the wheel hubs are from the Dakota and Durango, which is why it can be an absolute to find aftermarket wheels for your Viper. It gets even a little more dodgy because inside the Viper, you're gonna find parts from the Grand Caravan. And the Dodge shenanigans, well, they don't end there. I know we're playing fast and loose with some definitions of supercar here, but the Mitsubishi Evo is supercar fast, so, well, it deserves a spot. And even if it's a cheap piece of garbage Dodge underneath, I still wouldn't kick it out of my garage. That's right, the Lancer Evo X sits on the same chassis and shares a ton of other components with the entirely forgotten Dodge Caliber. Actually, that's not really fair. Technically, the slow, ugly, and unreliable Dodge Caliber shares a chassis with the Lancer, since Mitsubishi is the one that designed the platform. Still, it's just kind of mind-blowing thinking about that. Just imagine if the two cars had even more in common. You could have an all-wheel drive 350 horsepower station wagon. I think I'd seriously consider buying a Caliper Evo. And the Evo and Caliper, believe it or not, are not the only cars built on the Project Global platform. You could just as easily say that the Lancer Evo shares a ton of parts with the Jeep Compass or an Eclipse Cross. I have no clue why they chose that name. Moving on. Dodge isn't the only one that uses cheaper cars in their lineup to piece together expensive ones. It turns out a certain German company that I love, well, sort of did the same thing with one of the greatest cars ever built. It's called the 996 911, and I own one. Because Porsche, you see, it's actually a lot like Dodge, which feels really weird to say, but hear me out. Both companies want to be known for driver's cars, but have had a lot of economic troubles over the years. And when they're having economic troubles, they do some kind of suspect and radical things. Porsche decided it was time to ditch the air-cooled engines, work with Toyota on their manufacturing process, and revolutionize their flagship 911. But there's one big issue. They had no money. So for the interior and a bunch of body panels, they just stole them from their little entry-level car, the Boxster, which actually just kind of saved their ass. And so if you look at a 991 generation 911 and a 986 generation Boxster next to each other, the full front end looks the exact same. Heck, even the legendary GT3 RS from that generation had a ton of parts in common with the humble Boxster. Just look at the headlights on both. Guess what? I'm okay with it. I love my 996. In fact, that's why I was inspired to make our best-selling tee, the fried egg t-shirt. So for those of you that like 911s, you will not get more compliments at a car show. I can guarantee it. And if some companies had to share parts to keep maintenance costs down, that's awesome, because then they got to stay around. Uh-oh. Do you hear that? It's the honorable mention time, baby! You know the Ford modular V8? It's in a lot of Fords like the Mustang, Crown Vic, the F-150, and it might be in more supercars than a Chevy LS V8. Let's do a lightning round. You can find a Ford V8 in the Aston Martin Lagonda, the Marcos Mantis GT, the Panos Ave, the Cuvala Mangusta, the Invicta S1, and a bunch of TVRs. And the fastest production car in the world circa 2005, the Koenigsegg CCR. And that is a lot of Ford power. And this reminds me of the old Captain Planet cartoons. Mazda, Ford, Citroën, Aston. By your powers combined, it's the DB7. Starting in the rear, the lights are from a Mazda 3 Series. Headed to the front, the mirrors are from a Citroën CX. The door handles are from a limited edition Mazda 323, and the front turn signals are from a Miata. Yeah, it's always the answer, even if the question is, where should we get these lights from? And on the inside of the DB7, you'll find Ford universal switches, buttons from a Ford Scorpio, electronics from all sorts of Fords, and more Miata parts in the form of the interior door handles. And it kind of makes you wonder, what the heck does Aston really make? Other than a really good looking car with a beautiful engine note, really don't know. And like most cars on this list, it all stems from Aston Martin being in trouble. Ford and Mazda have always been really close. For a time, Ford actually owned Aston Martin, and the DB7 may have saved the company. I mean, it definitely looked great as a Bond car. So next time you see a Miata or a Ford, thank it for saving the British icon. We live in a really weird world, wouldn't you say? Which is a good way to wrap up this video. Just because a car uses cheap parts doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. I'd rather have a car company fish in the bargain bin so that they can produce beautiful pieces of machinery than just have another amazing concept car that never gets made. So what do you think? What parts does your car share with other cars? Let us know in the comments below. I've been Brad. Hit the like button if you liked the vid. Subscribe if you're new, turn on that notification bell, and say it with me, guys. Keep living the ideal lifestyle.